Hello, welcome back to Gulf Report. We've got a full roundup of the news coming up in about 6 or 7 minutes to 5 o'clock. But before that, let's take the opportunity of telling you what is going to be in this morning's papers. Before yours have been delivered, we get ours here good and early in the day. We've already gone through the first editions. We're on to updated editions. Let me start with the tabloids and look first of all at the Sunday Mirror. There we are, have a look at the front page. Blood money on our boys' heads is the headline they're running. Saddam's £16,000 price for lost flyers. They've decided to stick to the story about the money being offered by Saddam Hussein for the return of airmen who have had to bail out over enemy territory. That is to try and persuade the Iraqi people to take those pilots and hand them over to the authorities, for which they will get a fairly hefty reward. That's what the Sunday Mirror has to say. Let's move on to the news of the world. Take that off the top. Scuds blitzed after Israel hit again. That's looking back at yesterday morning's headlines, of course. There's been no, as far as we know, attack on Israel this evening, thankfully. Saddam Busters Revenge is their slightly inventive headline, and the picture above it is of a British Jaguar ground attack fighter which have been hammering Iraq's Scud missile launch sites with laser-targeted smart bombs. And if you look closely at this picture, you can see there is still one smart bomb attached to the wing on that side, but this one appears to have already gone. So I wonder if that plane is in mid-mission. We're not entirely sure. Britain's heroic airmen yesterday exacted a devastating revenge for Saddam's latest missile attack on Israel. That's the news of the world. The People, sticking with the tabloids. The cream of Saddam's Air Force humbled, blasted out of the sky, is what they have to say. This is obviously all designed to keep morale up, and no reason why it shouldn't be keeping morale up in this country. 5 Iraqi jets downed in supersonic fight. Allied fighters met Iraqi jets head-on yesterday and blasted them from the skies, is the story filed by Jeff Edwards. Fairly decisive stuff for the readers of the People. Let's move on to the Mail on Sunday. Now, they claim to have pictures of the Lancers on the front line who are watching and waiting, and indeed they also claim this is the first picture of Britain's frontline troops. I'm not totally sure that is absolutely 100% accurate. It was taken yesterday, they say, near the Kuwait border between the men of the 16th 5th Lancers and the enemy. There is only desert. Soon they will be ordered into action. But first of all, the Allied Air Force must do its job. Yesterday, the Lancers could only watch and wait. Captured is what they say in their banner headline. The Allies take oil rigs used as missile launcher pads. That's a reference to the American action from a boat in the Gulf taking a Kuwaiti oil rig, which had been captured obviously by the Iraqis, and taking 12 prisoners of war from that oil rig. Let's move on to their heavies, or the foolscap, no, papers. The Sunday Times, their headline, there you can see it, Allies face long and bloody war, bombing to last 10 more days. They're really putting a very different spin on the way the war is being presented from the way it's presented to the audience of the tabloid papers. We've all been told that everything's going very well so far, and Saddam's men are being blasted out of the skies. The Sunday Times says Saddam's forces are still intact as the raids hit only 50% of their targets. A very, very different spin being put on the story as they present it. And they do nevertheless say that support in this country remains overwhelming for the way that the government has been handling the war. Here we are. They've got a special panel of not experts but ordinary people who they've been keeping in touch with to do a sort of litmus test on the way that public opinion views the way the government is handling this war. That's the Sunday Times. On to the Sunday Telegraph. Get that out of the way. And perhaps the thing that makes them different, of course, is that the picture on the front page of the Sunday Telegraph is not of an aircraft or soldiers, but of an ordinary Israeli woman. Rather moving picture, taken by their photographer, Judah Passau, in Tel Aviv, an elderly woman holding part of a Scud missile which exploded outside her home, one of 3 that hit Tel Aviv early yesterday morning.